Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining the Northeast Inner Room. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll just give everybody another minute or two. I know everyone's joining a room that they're interested in. So if that's okay with you, we'll just give it a minute or two and then we'll jump into the presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining.
Aaron, by chance, are you
Yes.
able to add the link for this Zoom meeting in the chat so that I can pick it up and share it with some of my neighbors?
Sure. Let me go ahead and copy that link for you.
Okay, and I'm in Camp North End, so this is the correct meeting, correct? Off of Statesville Avenue.
Yes, it should be. Here, we'll zoom
Okay,
ahead really quick and just make sure that map lines up.
I believe so. Because my map was orange. My plan was it was in the orange section.
Okay. Here's a reference. Is the area outlined right here is what we'll be discussing today? Is that the area of interest to you? I know Statesville Avenue is kind of.
Can you clarify? Can you point to it one more time for me?
Sure. So, I'm sorry, I'm doing it on the other screen. I don't think you can, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but
Yes, I can.
oh, perfect. Okay. So the map that we have here on the screen is Northeast Inner. So, this is Central Avenue.
Yes, so I'm right near Dalton.
Okay. Okay. Are
So,
you further up here?
let's see. Where is
North
Statesville? That's
Graham.
North Graham. That's Dalton. So
Yes, ma'am.
if you move your cursor down, why
Here,
is Dalton like that though?
we'll do this. That's just a screenshot of a map. So here, we'll do it on this map. That might be better.
Okay, yeah.
Here we have Statesville Avenue right here, Graham Street, Woodward Avenue. Are we
Kohler.
in the?
Okay, so I'm up if we can go right to Kohler. Go move north a bit for me, right where, okay, not that far. Right where Double Oaks is.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay, actually, so just so you get the most out of this time, your area of interest falls within the North Inner geography. So it's just a little bit north of the geography that this room will be focusing on. So you're more than welcome to stay here, but these materials are for Northeast Inner versus North Inner, and we do have
Okay.
a staff member that's sharing information. So if the North Inner room is more interest to you, then feel free to join that room,
Yeah.
and they'll be able to speak to your interests more. So
Okay, that's perfect. Are you able to move me into the room, or let's see, I may be able to.
I can. Let's
Let
see.
it's
You sh
Is it NMO?
It should be NI.
Got it. Well, wait a minute. So it's showing on my check, what's checked is showing that I am in this room. It says NI 5 o'clock.
In This is NEI. Is
Oh,
there should be one that's just NI.
yeah, that's not coming. NI. Let me
See
try.
if I'm sorry, I don't know that I have the ability to move you. Let me see. I may.
Oh, no worries. Let me try this. Let me try it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, Arthur. How are you?
Hi there, Aaron. I'm doing fine.
Good.
Wait to figure out like where it was supposed to go. Pretty sure.
Okay, well, I just helped another resident find the correct room. So I'll first ask maybe what area you're interested in discussing, and this may be the correct room. And if not, we'll get you placed in the correct location. So let me pull this map over like I was able to do for her. So the area that we will be discussing in this room is Northeast Inner. So the boundary is this blue outline here. So we have Central Avenue. This is the Plaza, blue line up here. I can zoom in a little bit if you like, but this is the area that this room will be focusing on. Is that of interest to you, or are you interested in another area?
Yeah, that one's of interest to me because like I'm actually in
Perfect.
like the top right tip of this border.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Well, then I will pull this map away and open the PowerPoint. Thank you for your patience on that. I didn't realize that she was not in the correct room. So I started and she was like, wait a minute. So I just wanted to confirm that with you before we got started. Um,
Oh, good.
I believe it's just you and I right now in the room. So I do have some slides queued up that just kind of gives an overview of the community area planning process and dives into the Northeast Inner community area in more detail. If that's okay with you, I can go through those slides and kind of give you an overview, and then we can just go back and forth with questions and discussion. Or I can defer to you if you have a specific question that you just wanted to come and ask, and then go about your evening. So however you'd like to proceed, it's just you and I, so we can just make it pretty informal.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fine. And I think like going through the slides, slide by slide seems fine.
Okay.
A quick note though, some of my other like neighbors, I think they also got messed up because like they thought like we thought we fell within like the east section, so like they thought our meeting was going to be at 6. So they were expecting it to be at 6 p.m. because like I guess we considered a little, or they consider themselves a part of the east side
Got
when
it.
this happens to be a north side meeting. So I guess there was perhaps a little bit of a lack of clarity from the city regarding that.
Completely understand and really appreciate that feedback. We do realize that this was a confusing way to kind of promote this information. We were trying to do our best to accommodate an additional meeting request, from council, and we do apologize for that confusion. However, it is one link, so that is a good thing. I know when you're
Yeah.
your neighbors may join at 6 and they may be in a different room talking about a different area. But I think that I'm hoping at least we'll have a small enough group to where we can maybe cater to some of their specific questions if they have any about the Northeast Center.
All right, it sounds good. Yeah, we'll see if like they show up because I think they were really hoping or planning around 6 p.m.
Got it. Got it. Completely understand and really appreciate that feedback. That's completely fair. And I'll take that back to our staff for sure.
All right,
Um,
sounds good.
okay, awesome. Well, I'll just go ahead and get started. This again, there's just some slides that are going to cover the Northeast Community Area Plan and just discuss how it may impact you and your community. I think we've had some others join the room, so welcome. I'll just begin with a brief overview of the document, and then I'll open it up for discussion and questions, and we can just go back and forth because I believe this is going to be a small group in this room today. Okay. Sorry, I apologize. I have multiple screens. Okay. So the reason for developing the community area plans is that Charlotte has been continuously growing for decades, and it's projected to keep growing. So in response to that projected growth, our city has adopted the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan that was adopted in 2021, and it defines our 20-year vision for growth and change in Charlotte. The plan essentially calls for future growth to benefit as many people as possible. So while the comprehensive plan provides the broader vision for our community, there's also other levels of guidance that are needed to make this vision come to life. So this is the planning framework on the screen here that was adopted underneath the comprehensive plan, and it identifies the subsequent levels of guidance that are needed. So level 2 is what we call the strategic plans, and those are citywide documents that provide more details than the comprehensive plan on a particular topic. So the strategic mobility plan, for example, which you'll see in the Northeast Center plan, provides more guidance on how to realize goal 5 of the comprehensive plan, which is that goal around creating safe and equitable mobility choices. And then you'll see level 3, which is the community area plans. And that's what we're discussing today. And that provides more guidance for the appropriate land uses, building form, and infrastructure needed throughout the plan geography. And then level 4, that's what we're calling specific plans. So those will focus on smaller geographies, even smaller than this, and provide more guidance for the implementation of the specific projects and programs in the community area plan. So it's important to note that levels 2 through 4, they all build upon the vision and the goals outlined in the comprehensive plan. So it's all kind of working together towards that one planning framework. So community area plans, they're essentially about creating complete communities, which means, creating places that integrate housing, job opportunities, daily goods and services, all of those matters in an accessible manner. So in other words, that live, work, and play, if you followed along throughout the process, that live, work, and play tagline that we've kind of been using, it all goes towards, the creating this complete community idea. Includes 5 sections and references. So community area plans, they were developed with a 5-phase process that occurred over 2 years. Staff has offered multiple engagement opportunities in each phase, and the outcomes of each of the phases have been shared along the way. So you can see here on the screen an outline of the project thus far and where we're at now, which is really at the end, at review and adoption. For example, there are multiple programs. So this slide summarizes the engagement efforts from phase 1 and 1 through 4 actually, of the whole effort. So overall, we've reached 400,000 residents, and this is both online and in person, using a range of constant and coordinated tactics. And this includes things like social media posts, our website, and all of the online interactive content that we produce, like story maps, videos, everything. So that number is, great. We're really pleased with that number. It's definitely, a lot has to do with our online reach there. So while virtual interactions are great, we still really value those in-person interactions. And we were able to interact with 6,000 people from 1 to phase 4. For this planning effort, we hosted 50 workshops in which we asked residents to join us, but also made the effort to meet people where they are by attending libraries, festivals, other meetings like that. And you can see that geographic dispersion, on the map here to the right. And then also we received approximately 1,700 comments that have helped shape these draft plans to date. And I'll pause there. I saw you came on camera. Do you have a specific question?
No, but although I do have like a bit of a comment, like you can see in like the Northeast Dinner, like there's like not exactly a little, I guess, icon in the top right section because like that's where I live. So it does seem like there's probably like not as much engagement from that section of Northeast Dinner.
Okay, absolutely. I appreciate your feedback. I'm going to note all of your comments. We are cataloging comments that we received tonight and including that in the comments that we will be summarizing and responding to individually. And we'll be sharing that information with our community as well as council in the next week or so. So I'll note that comment and we'll absolutely just provide a response that you can, look up online. And I do hear you. We're a small but mighty team, but I definitely understand the frustration there.
Yeah, and I just came on camera mostly just to show you that I'm here and listening
Perfect.
as well.
I appreciate that. Awesome. I appreciate that. And bear with me. Feel free to just interrupt me. I'm kind of just going through a spiel here, but interrupt me if you have any questions.
Okay, all good. And I guess one related note on that topic, since I mentioned the whole like there's no like I guess no opportunities that have been like in the past in my segment of the Northeast Center. I think part of that problem might also be because of the language barrier, because some of my neighbors, immediate neighbors here, are also like primarily Spanish speaking.
Okay, really helpful to know. Okay. Now, could you maybe help me understand exactly, or give me a frame of reference when you say the corner of Northeast Center, maybe an intersection or a street that I can reference?
So at the like intersection of the plaza and Eastway.
Got it. Perfect.
Like literally in the I guess what direction is this? South and then west, southwest of that intersection, like immediately southwest.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to add some context to that comment, and I will absolutely log that for us. And I hear you, and I do apologize for that. There can always be more. We definitely understand. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so we'll move forward. The implementation section also, are you getting any background noise? I apologize. We have other staff.
A little bit. I hear some.
I'm sorry. Is it bothering you?
Not really. It's
okay.
You're louder than it is.
Okay. Perfect. Apologies. We're all in the office on the same call.
Oh, good.
Okay. So the community area plans, they were developed using a systematic process, meaning that they were developed in the same way and will have the same components and format within them. So while they were developed systematically, each of the plans contains unique content that reflects the individual character of that geography, as well as some new common policy guidance that will help achieve the vision of the plan. So they provide a common set of considerations for all decision makers to ensure that we're consistently evaluating options in line with the city's vision. And over time, these considerations will help ensure growth is accommodated in a way that respects established neighborhoods, aligns growth with our infrastructure capacity, and creates vibrant mixed-use centers for all.
We also have a specific plan.
So now we'll dive into the Northeast Interplan specifically in a little bit more detail. Right here on the screen, we have the table of contents for the Northeast Interplan. And if you look at other plans, you'll see the same table of contents and organization, as I mentioned on the last slide, but more specific information, for each geography is kind of tailored differently throughout. So I'll keep the table of contents up on each of these slides for tracking purposes as we go through some of the components of the Northeast Interplan.
Alrighty, cool.
So I know this is a small kind of a screenshot, so we can dive into more detail once we wrap up if we need to. But each plan really begins with an overview of the area's profile. So that includes a summary of projected residential units and new jobs, as well as a comparison of local demographics to citywide demographics. So that's kind of the snippet that you see here on the screen. The next chapter outlines the geography's greatest needs and the prioritized goals associated with those needs. So the needs are focused on increasing access to housing choices, job opportunities, daily goods and services, and reducing environmental impact. So the plans they focus on each of these four needs because these are the metrics that are identified in the comprehensive plan as paramount for ensuring future growth benefits as many people as possible. So the 10 comprehensive plan goals were linked to these four metrics. And if a metric scored less than 5, the associated goals were identified as priorities for that geography. So the caveat here, all goals are important, but this prioritized list is really intentional and hope we have it so that we hope to prioritize, dollars and resources. And it could just be a way to kind of prioritize those resources.
Okay, because I can see that like access to housing there was like I think noted as like a high priority. That is like definitely the case because like there's definitely a large population of unhoused people like out in the streets and also like panhandling. I think out at the same intersection of the Plaza and Eastway often from what I noticed.
Yeah, that's really great to hear that aligns with what you're seeing. That's the hope. So hopefully some of these, now that we have that priority, and the goals that are associated with that priority can kind of help guide the future development to help, alleviate some of that concern. That's the intent. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's really great to hear. So chapter 4 focuses on recommended development patterns for the geography, and that comes via the 2040 policy map. So the colors on this map relate to the types and intensity of development that's appropriate for the area. And to learn more about the colors, feel free to check out the place type descriptions in the appendix. It kind of goes through each use, the associated color, and kind of what that use entails in terms of future development. And it is also important to note that the plans recommend a large portion of this geography to remain as is, meaning if redevelopment occurs in these areas, like neighborhood 1, then the new development should match the scale and intensity of the development on the ground today. So the Northeast Interplan specifically recommends that 24% of its geography evolve into a different place type if development were to occur. So this targeted amount of...
Yeah. No, I was agreeing.
Oh, awesome. So this targeted amount of change will really help accommodate the projected growth in a way that respects neighborhood, pairs growth with infrastructure capacity, and creates mixed-use centers that will help increase access across Charlotte.
And this kind of focuses on major.
So the other pages in chapter 4 explain how recommended change helps advance the geography's priority goals and addresses their greatest needs. So if that change were to occur, what goals within the comprehensive plan would that advance? Chapter 5 is called Supporting the Vision, and it includes 5 sections, and it references the Neighborhood Toolkit. So the Neighborhood Toolkit is actually a pretty cool piece of this work. It's included within the appendix because it's a reference for all geographies, so it's consistent throughout all geographies. But it's really a catalog of all the great programs that are currently available to residents to help address their needs. So the intent is that it can be a resource to empower neighborhoods and neighbors that want to see change and take action. So for example, the toolkit, it outlines existing programs that neighborhoods could tap into if they were interested in amenities or common open space in their neighborhood, and it just kind of aligns or gives them ideas and resources for how to make that a reality in their neighborhood.
Plan, however, I can document.
So now getting into a little bit of the meat of the document. So the mobility section was developed in coordination with CDOT, CATS, and CRTPO. So it restates that Goal 5, safe and equitable mobility, is important across Charlotte. And it includes a variety of things. But first on the screen here, it includes a clip of the citywide streets map, which outlines the future cross-section for arterial streets in Charlotte. Smaller streets will be informed by the UDO regulations. The mobility section also summarizes the citywide strategic mobility plan, and it also highlights the strategic investment areas within the geography. So again, the strategic mobility plan is part of that level 2 guidance in that planning framework that we discussed earlier that outlines the city's mobility policies. And then SIA is a citywide investment strategy for maximizing the city's limited investment dollars in an efficient and impactful manner. So next, the mobility section includes another level of guidance called the mobility assessment. And this assessment evaluates how well our future mixed-use places are meeting our aspirations. And then these assessments, they should really be used by all stakeholders. So we've designed them to be useful for residents, developers, city officials, really everybody, to help inform future development and infrastructure projects within each specific geography. So for example, if a developer wants to rezone a site within one of these mixed use locations, they should really use this assessment to propose a project that improves the conditions of that area. And then similarly, community members, they can evaluate a proposed project against this assessment to determine if the project contributes to the area's aspirations. There's also an open space and community character chapter included in the plan, and they have similar assessments. They're also important components of the place type aspiration, but for sake of time, I won't share slides that go into as much detail on those, but we can absolutely navigate to them in the document once we wrap up the presentation. If you have any questions or want to look at those in more detail, I'm more than happy to do that.
Sounds good. Yeah. I
Awesome.
I did look at the entire plan, well, not the entire plan, but this segment of the plan like a couple weeks ago, and I think I
Nice.
left like 2 comments so far.
Great.
What
Awesome.
I
We
could-
really, great. We really, really appreciate that feedback. That's very helpful. So the next section of the plan is environmental justice and sustainability, which really builds upon the comprehensive plan's vision to reduce environmental impacts across Charlotte. And this section provides more detailed analysis of the environmental impacts within the plan's geography. As you can see in the assessment dials at the top, screenshot on that slide there. And it also introduces heat impacts as a new environmental metric that should be considered in future decision making, as shown in the map on the lower part of the screen. There's also an implementation section in the plan, which provides additional specific strategies for various partners and agencies. And that's really kind of a guide to help advance this work. It also contains illustrative concepts, which provide visualizations for how areas that are recommended for change may evolve over time. The program guide and the appendix are also available for review, and that's where you can find additional background information to support, the context of these plans. This was just a snippet, of some of the higher level sections. And then really quickly, before we dive into kind of the discussion, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have, just a few notes for after adoption. So first, the plans, they are to be implemented in multiple different ways. The private and public sectors both have a role to play, of course, and they may be implemented through private development, private-public partnerships, capital improvements, and rezonings. So there's a variety of different ways. Second, the plans are important. Like I mentioned before, they're an important part of the planning framework, but they're only one of the tools in the toolbox. So they're not the end all be all, but they're an important component. in that toolbox. We also have specific plans in that list of resources, which focus on smaller geographies, like I mentioned, and they're implemented more like smaller scale implementation, I guess.
Yeah.
And we definitely have the ability to develop this guidance, and if and when needed, we plan to do so across the city. And then the final note about adoption, planning is cyclical, so we plan to monitor and update recent plans, that being the comprehensive plan and these plans, every 8 to 10 years. So they will be monitored and tracked for, assessment and change every few years. So next steps, staff will share the comments received, like I mentioned, and the potential amendments to the draft plans with our planning committee on Tuesday. So even the comments we get tonight, we are taking them tomorrow, and we are working really hard to get all of those logged and cataloged, because we do plan to share those with our planning committee on Tuesday. Council has decided to delay their decision on adoption from May 27th to give the public more time to review and comment on the plan. So we will be sharing the comments that we've received, so far with planning committee on Tuesday, but also cataloging comments after that, and we'll reshare those after the fact with those same people as well as the community. And the council decision has tentatively been pushed to June. So with that being said, I'll stop there. I know we had a few others join our room, so I'll pause for questions. I'm happy to go back to a specific slide, pull up the policy map, anything that you guys would like to discuss at this time. I can open the floor to you all.
I like if you do that.
So I wanted to ask, what did I miss? The new plan that's in the area, because I think I arrived late. I couldn't find the right room.
Oh, you're fine. Well, let's see. What area are you interested in, Allison?
I live off of Dinglewood area, so it's kind of like the Plaza Midwood,
Okay.
so to speak, like Noda-ish, more like East Sugar Creek.
Okay, yeah, I think you are likely in the correct room. I will pull up a map. This could be beneficial for all in the room. So this is the Northeast area. That's what we're discussing right now in this room. So anybody that lives in this area or works in this area or just has an interest in this geography, the information that we're sharing here today would probably be of interest to you. So it looks like, I think maybe you're in the right location. If not, I can help you navigate to the correct room.
It's the correct room.
Awesome. I'm
Kind of show you.
Move that. Does anybody have any specific questions that they wanted to discuss this evening? I know it's kind of hard when we had people in and out of the room, so I'm happy to go back to the first few slides of the presentation, or if anybody came and wanted to share some feedback. We really wanted to just open up this webinar opportunity because we intend to continue to receive feedback on the plans. So I'm happy to take any comments you guys have. We will be logging those and responding to each of them individually. So yeah, just again, it's a small group, so I'm happy to just use the time however you guys would like.
So you can come in.
Yeah, so I think going over to like I think you saw it under the transit section, or something like that, but pretty much neighborhood types of that sort. There was like a section for like a commercial in the plaza that said when I was looking at that
And as you're going
little diagram, it said it was like a mixed use IMU, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what all is like included in something like that? Oh yeah,
sure.
that little gray area there. Yeah.
and
Near the plaza.
Oh, right up here.
Yeah. Top
Gotcha,
right.
gotcha. Okay. Well, what I'll do, if it's okay with you all, I'll just pull up what we call the place type palette that just kind of highlights the place types in more detail. So the innovation mixed use place type, that is on the lower part of the screen. That's really a mixed use area that is likely employment uses, typically older urban areas, light manufacturing, office, studios, things of that sort would be what you would see here. And we really want to try to encourage adaptive reuse in these areas. So if there's an old warehouse or an old building, it may have been industrial at one point or manufacturing and logistics at one point. We're really encouraging the redevelopment and adaptive reuse of those spaces.
Okay, gotcha. Because yeah, I know like commercial a little bit, and yeah, there's definitely a little bit of industrial, but I think it's mostly like just businesses. Like I think it's ordinary businesses, couple churches and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I feel as though I'm not super familiar with what exactly is on the ground right there. We can zoom in on the map if we'd like. I hope I'm not making you guys dizzy. Please tell me to stop if I am. This area that you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's likely, and again, that's the recommended, future land use. So it may not be what's on the ground now, but it's guiding future development. So if development were to come and changes were to be proposed for that area, this is how we, as the city, recommends this evolve into the innovation mixed use place type. Given methodology and the assessments that have been done so far. So we know where it's
Okay, gotcha. And I think like I noted in like the as a comment in either this plan or one of the other plans that because like it's on like the literal border, excuse me. So there is like I think one proposed idea, like potential
Mhm.
idea even, to put a stoplight like at the intersection of East East Eastway and City Side Drive, which I think is like interesting. Not exactly sure how I feel about it because like traffic is already kind of congested around the intersection of Plaza and Eastway. So I feel like that might add a little more, but on the same time, like there are some people who definitely like want to go like straight across from City Side to Weldon safely because it is definitely a hazard to also for anyone who wants like go straight across from Weldon to City Side and vice versa.
Understood. Understood. I'll note that comment. I do believe I saw that come through. Was that on one of the illustrative concepts?
Yeah,
One
I
of the
think I
visuals?
yeah, or was it visual? Well, I put it I don't remember where I put it. I just know I remember putting a comment like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, completely understand. There are a lot of, potential projects and programs listed within the plan that fall underneath that mobility realm, whether it's in a SIA or strategic investment area. Sorry, SIA. Um, so I will definitely note that comment, but I definitely did see that come through.
All right, cool.
Thank you. Is there anything else that anybody wants to discuss? I'm happy, like I said, to go back to some of the slides, from the beginning of the presentation. If anybody had any questions, I'm not sure where everybody came in.
So Erin,
Hi, Nancy.
hi. I'm a little bit confused because I thought the East meeting was at breakout room was at from 6 to. Am I incorrect on that matter?
No, you are correct. So the 5 to 6 p.m. slot was the West and North community area plans, and the
Right.
6 to 7 p.m. slot was the East and South community area plans. So you are correct in that. But it's the same meeting essentially because we couldn't do two links at once. We were just instructed to do
Okay.
one webinar for all 14 geographies. So
Okay, I
feel
missed that
free.
part.
Oh,
Sorry.
no worries. It was confusing, and we heard that, and
Yeah.
we will take that back to leadership for sure. But feel free to hang out here or jump into another room if there's another area that you're interested in.
No, this is my area of interest.
Oh,
And
great.
I know there's a link where I can manipulate the map myself.
Yes, I'm happy to share that with you.
Yeah. I know it was in the email, but
in a way.
Okay. That link you should be able to access the revised policy map, Nancy. Let me know if you have issues with that. I'm happy to send another link.
yeah, no, I've think I've got it now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I'm in the same area as the prior speaker.
Mhm.
Mostly concerned about Central Avenue.
Mhm.
And I think it's probably premature to be at this meeting because I think that Central Avenue is correct and right in terms of the place types, but
Mhm.
the moving it to UDO did not happen. So I understand there's some state issues about um changing the UDO, but is this out of line to be trying to figure out if we're going to be able to at some point get that changed in the UDO.
Absolutely. No, not necessarily out of line, and I definitely I saw your comments come through as well,
Oh, you did?
and
Okay.
appreciate you coming to public hearing and speaking on Monday night as well. So not out of line necessarily. It's just a matter of the policy versus regulation, which I know you're familiar with,
Right.
and I know that you are really speaking to a lot of the work that will likely happen in the alignment rezoning process. It's just a matter of when that happens, but we do know that staff is on the ground trying to get that up and running as soon as possible.
Okay.
But it will be the alignment rezoning team, which will fall under the entitlement services division. So it's not us that will be doing that work, but we'll be working closely with them on that.
Okay, that's good enough. Thank you. That just want to make sure it's out there.
They're trying. They are trying. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of get it. Okay, so I guess mostly what I and some other members of my neighborhood are thinking about is this Briar Creek Greenway that's
Mhm.
crossing Central, and
Mhm.
really would like that to be a community gathering spot, a pedestrian bike connectivity all through to Plaza Midwood, up eventually up into Shamrock area, and then of course across Independence, all the way to Providence Road, and eventually Little Sugar Creek. So it just seems like an incredible opportunity for a small little commercial bike ped district. And I don't know to what degree the city can help make that happen other than zoning it correctly. Do you have any ideas? Like,
Well, again, to the point we just mentioned, alignment rezoning, that effort, as well as our partners that we've worked with on the community area planning process, whether that's Park and Rec or CDOT. We've worked closely with all of them to consolidate potential projects and programs into these, geography specific documents. But we, of course, are not the owners of all of the projects and programs. So,
right.
just submitting your comment would be an excellent way, to get that idea across. And I know you've submitted plenty. Like I said, we've seen quite a few comments come from you, and we really appreciate that. And heard you at public hearing on Monday, so also appreciate that. So just again, submitting that comment, and whether it's CDOT or Park and Rec, the correct contact will be also reviewing these comments that we've received and cataloged to date, for sure.
Yeah, I do think that's all taken care of, and I appreciate it. I did want to follow up on the prior Arthur. Arthur, you still there?
Yeah.
He was mentioning
I'm
the
here.
cross the light going over to
The city side in Weldon.
right. And I also wanted to mention that getting out of the northeast about Park and Rec Center there, the Northeast Rec Center or East Rec Center, right, is really, really dangerous, making a left turn. And I don't know if there's anything the transportation or CDOT can do to make that safer.
Let's see, if you guys don't mind. I don't want to make anybody dizzy. We can pull that up on this map. Okay, so what intersection are we?
Well, it's where the it's
Eastway Regional Recreation Center. So I think
correct.
like technically it might not be included in our plan, but I think it's like
So
at
this
the
is
edge.
to having the ability to
Top right.
Just barely. You were right,
walk,
Arthur.
walk, bike, or a transit
Up here?
of 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Eastway
think
Park Drive. Do you see that going? Yeah, right in front of your arrow there.
Yeah, so
It says Eastway Park Drive, and that's a huge rec center that's very busy, and it's also a senior center. So there are a lot of driving older people, and it's impossible to get out of it turning left. And if you turn right, you really have a long way before you can get left. So I'm just wondering if that could be looked at
Okay,
as a dangerous spot.
absolutely. I'm noting this comment, and again, I don't want to speak incorrectly, so I'm not the subject matter expert on that, but absolutely noting that comment, and can catalog that as well. And our mobility partners are reviewing comments, like I mentioned, and may have a specific answer, or at least be able to put you in the direction of some future guidance.
All right, thanks, Erin. Let's let somebody else come on.
I can second that. Obviously, like I'll second that because like I just know. Thank you for pointing that out, Nancy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you guys.
okay, yeah. So
Okay. I know we've had some others join the room as well. I know we have our planning director, Monica Holmes, as well. as planning commissioner, Mr.
Great.
Lansdale here.
Hi, Monica.
So,
Hi,
so
how are you doing? Sorry, I'm jumping around rooms. So thank you guys for coming and participating and providing comment.
absolutely. We really appreciate everyone's input. I'm happy to go to a specific slide if someone has another specific question, or we can navigate through the plan document in more detail if you guys have seen anything that's jumped out at you. Again, really happy to just continue, taking comments and collecting feedback. We really wanted to open up this opportunity for more community input. So really appreciate the feedback that you guys are providing.
I think Terry's putting something in the text chat. Got a couple questions from him.
Revised place type is campus, and I'll show you what place type are in just a second. But
Oh, hi, Terry.
Hello, everybody. Author Aaron, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Let's see the
Great.
transportation.
Really, if you don't mind me asking my question out loud.
Sure.
I think you're in a busy room as well, Aaron, so my apologies.
I am. I apologize. If
Question
there's
was
any
one-
background.
Yeah, if you can go to the S&T recommendation slide, I think it should be your last slide in the community area plan. And what I struggle with is does a transportation section reflect the 30-year transportation investment plan, or the metropolitan transportation plan, or any other fully projects like the sidewalk?
So
Looking for the S&T recommendation page.
So that's primary.
Okay. I'm just going to pull up the actual plan if that's okay. That will probably be helpful.
Sure. Well, it's really is specific about this particular. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're going to pull the actual.
Apologies, bear with me. I'm working three screens and these are large documents.
You guys are doing a great job. We appreciate it. I think this is my third or fourth room I've bounced around.
Really, really appreciate that.
We appreciate
it. Okay, I apologize. I don't want to make anybody dizzy. This one's a little far down. Bear with me, everybody.
There it was.
Okay.
One more, maybe yes, the recommendation page for the strategic mobility plan. I'm sorry, I don't know the page.
That's okay. That's okay. I know, like, referring to, I don't have the page off the top of my head.
Right. Great. So what we've seen here, and what I'm trying to explain is that micromobility over the past 5 years changed definitions. Micromobility 5 years ago really was about e-scooters,
commercial centers are going to be more car
like
oriented.
even human powered bicycles that micromobility now is into a on-demand transit service and inclusion of car rental. The definition has changed in our recommendation. And what I'm trying to do is to make sure that I offer up every collection of data around funded projects, including the city's budget investments in sidewalks, metropolitan transportation plan, the funding plan for the next 5 years, and really trying to understand how the definitions that we have in S&P may be outdated and may need to be upgraded. The notion that we are going to collaborate with scooter rentals on formal road and other area plans, that's not going to be a suitable solution for the recommendation. So we really would like to see these plans be beefed up, really taking a hard look at this particular slide on all of our plans, really try to give a better definition. If someone's going to sift their way through 51 pages into this, we want to leave them and be rewarded with a great recommendation, a better understanding about how this small area plan or the area plans are going to help them solve their transportation issues, for economic mobility, livability, environmental issues, heat island effect, safety, and also the opportunity to see how we can manage growth for affordable housing and all types of housing. So again, I come from a transportation lens. You may know, Aaron, I want to give you a great thanks for all the work staff has done to get us to this point. Right now, I really would like to see a little bit sharper point on some of the older pieces that may have to be reflected upon now with our changing views at this date and moving forward to make these areas stronger and more robust when they take a look at the DIAS with voting opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute today, and thank you for participation.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Lansdale. And I've noted your comments and definitely hear you. So we'll get those logged and cataloged and shared with leadership to take a closer look at those recommendations for sure. Does anybody else have any specific questions or comments? Now that my computer has decided to work with us, I was able to load the full document. So I'm happy to navigate to any specific area of interest, like we just did with Commissioner Lansdale. If anybody has any questions about the environmental justice component, open space, more mobility comments, community character, anything like that. Really just, it's a small group, so happy to use the time that would, most benefit you all and answer any questions or concerns you may have.
Yeah, so I was looking at the, since you mentioned environmental justice, I was also coincidentally scrolling on that page. I think on the actual plan, it's like 5960 with the map. It's like there was like a segment of I think in the same spot I like pointed out, like the plaza and Eastway intersection around the area. Like that's squared. I think reading the legend there, it says it's like vulnerable to displacement. So how is that determined?
So the vulnerable to displacement metric was really determined through some methodology, and I honestly was not involved in it in great detail, so I don't want to misspeak, but I will say there was great detailed methodology that went into this information, and a lot of it comes from the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan. So the appendix is probably a great resource for you just to dive into the details. I don't want to give you inaccurate information in terms of data. However, I would start with the appendix to gather more data, or excuse me, more information around where that data came from and how that analysis was conducted. And then definitely check out the Charlotte Future 2040 Comprehensive Plan. There was a great deal of analysis done leading up to that plan document as well, that all was baked into this information.
These are the areas.
Alrighty, gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking at the appendix, and it looks like it's in like Appendix E for that methodology.
Yes. More than happy to drop that link in the chat. Do you have access to that? I can pull that link for you if that's easier.
Yeah, I don't exactly know where that I saw the page, but I don't know where the actual appendix is.
Absolutely.
The adopted place type was
I'll drop that in the chat.
Place type
because it's concerning that like that area is I think has the least just in terms of environmental justice and also is vulnerable to displacement.
And then
absolutely, yes, definitely hear your concerns there. I will drop.
So it was adopted as neighborhood one policy map, but we changed that over to the center. And again, on this corner, so kind of expanding the corner at all four intersections. Expanding the neighborhood center at all four intersections.
I'm trying to do so. Apologies, and bear with me. I'm working 3 screens, and my computer is, I think it's struggling with information overload at this moment. It's running very slowly.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, they can just go in.
So in the meantime, are there any additional thoughts or questions while I pull this link for Arthur?
It's expected to in this next adoption. So the lighter shade color is what is currently.
Nothing else that like immediately comes to mind. I'm also just like trying to like sift through to see what else might be interesting.
Completely understand. It is a lot of information, and we do recognize that. So we appreciate all of the comments and input that you all have received or that we've received from you all so far. Definitely understand that these are it's a lot of information to sift through. So really appreciate your time on that.
Yeah. And obviously like some of us are focused on like our own specific areas within each segment.
Absolutely, yes. And feel free, we are still collecting comments on the draft plans themselves. You can submit comments on the draft plans via our website. Feel free to email the Charlotte Future email and we can get your comments logged that way. We are happy to come to a community meeting upon request. So if you guys have a community, that it already has an organized group of people and you'd like us to come speak, I'm more than happy to come join that meeting and give, some more time for questions and answers.
Okay, gotcha. In my specific neighborhood, we don't have one of those neighborhood organizations set up because of a whole host of problems. Not going to get into right now. That I've also been letting the city know about. But there are some like other like larger organizations. I say larger, but neighborhood coalition, and also I think it's the Democrats at Precinct 28. So I can see if like any of those groups are interested
Awesome.
in something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Arthur, I apologize. That took me a moment. My computer is absolutely slow right now, so I do apologize. But so that link will take you to the draft plan kind of like hub that houses all of them. So in that kind of table of contents at the top of the website, you'll find every community area plan, and then the appendix is also at the tail end of that list.
Oh yeah, there it is, appendices. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, the Charlotte Future 2030 Comprehensive Plan is also a really great resource to kind of dive into some of that behind the scenes work that was done prior to beginning any of this planning work. There was a lot of, growth analysis, change analysis, tons and tons of, methodology work that was done behind the scenes. So the comprehensive plan will also have more details on that.
Strategic mobility plan is a level two plan type.
All right, sounds good.
These mobility policies, and the SIA is a.
Yeah, I don't have anything immediately that comes to mind as a last comment, but again,
Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you all, and thank you for bearing with me while I scrolled through different pages and dealt with a slow computer. I appreciate the patience. We do have a hard stop at 6 o'clock for our next round of meetings. That will be the south and east area plans. And I know some of you have expressed that you're either your neighbors or yourself, was interested in both or the next one. So feel free to hang out on the call. The link will not change. You will not get booted off in any way, but the rooms are, we're kind of tag teaming them. So I have another area that I'll be talking about at 6, and that will be South Outer. So you're more than welcome to stay and listen to South Outer if it's of interest. However, if you'd like to go listen to another geography that may be closer related to the Northeast Inner, feel free to jump into that room. I'll pull the map back up so you all can check
East and South
the area around Northeast Inner and see which.
So, Erin, you're saying that there will be people or discussion on Northeast Inner also at 6?
No, Nancy. This was the only discussion on Northeast Inner at 6.
Okay. I was
sorry if I may have explained that poorly. It's kind of complex.
Well, I came in a little bit late, but thank you, Erin. This is where kind of people are learning technology and learning this is a very complex plan, and it's bound to be kind of rough, but you all have done a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate your support and input so far.
But I'm going to leave the room. So bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
See you, Nancy. And yeah, South Outer is like really at the very bottom. So
yeah, it's very.
I'm not as familiar with them.
No. It's very far from Northeast Center. Yes, it is. Yeah. So feel free to. I think there's an introduction room or a waiting room of some sort if you want to bop over there and just kind of see which other rooms you'd be interested in, or you can go about your evening. But either way, we really appreciate you spending your time with us tonight in the Northeast Center room, at least.
All right, yeah, and again, thank you, Erin, for hosting this for well, I guess me and a few others that were here.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, take care, and I guess I can just press the leave room button, right?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
All right, cool. See you around.
All right, have a good one.
You too.